Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine, giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine, episode 209. I'm Mike Mylan, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is Blaine Birch, the CEO and founder of Dry Run, and my partner here on the podcast. What's up, man?
It is a beautiful fall day up here in Canada. It's just one of those days. Blue sky, the leaves have changed colors, absolutely gorgeous. Perfect day, right before the winter hits.
Yeah, and then we had to start the podcast twice, and you had to run upstairs, and you had all this stuff going on. It was like,
yeah. So, if anyone saw our previous live stream that was about 20 seconds long, before I deleted them all, yeah, you'd laugh. Anyway, we're off to the races now, so that's a good thing, and we got a good topic today. Too much. Okay. I almost said it the Canadian way. I'm gonna do the American pronunciation. Too much process, not enough progress.
That's right. Too much process, not enough progress.
There you go. Thank you for doing the Canadiana version there, the Canuck version. So I appreciate that. Why overengineering kills small business growth. So we got a great topic today, and Mike will make fun of me the entire time for pronouncing process and progress correctly, and I'll argue with him about it.
Yeah. Hey, on occasion you get just a little too close to the microphone, getting some feedback or, some whatever. When you're back a little bit, it's good to go. Just letting you know.
Good to know.
It never happens. You're usually just perfect. Boom. So, hey, I got some news. Remember how we ended the last episode? How we ended it?
Yes. Yeah, of course. It's the Mike Mylan Bowl.
It was the Mike Mylan Bowl. And then we had of course, on Sunday, I wished everybody a happy Mike Mylan Bowl. And guess what? That bad boy is still in Texas. Now you're like, oh, Mike, there's no whiskey in there. I know, I was drinking it just in case I had to ship it back. so now I got to refill it up.
Yeah.
Just in case I had to ship it back. So anyway, yeah, the Mike Mylan Bowl engraved trophy stays in Texas, at least until the next time they play. And guess what? It's getting filled back up. Well,
is Baltimore Mike going to send you new whiskey? Because you did win the Mike Mylan Bowl again.
Yeah, so all right, so this is where everybody catches me on this. Like going, well, if you're the winner, you should get something.
Get some whiskey.
Like going, no, yeah, it's a weird bet. It's like going, if you're the winner, you actually get to keep the thing. If you don't have to, you get to keep it, right? So that's actually what you win. And if you lose, though, you have to mail it. And Mike started it off by putting a bottle of whiskey in it with it. So, yeah.
And
so if you lose,
I was just saying, you know that I'm taking credit for that win.
Oh yeah, it was all the Canuck karma,
all the Canuck karma, because I came home, flipped on the game, and you guys had a little bit of a lead. And I said, hey, looks like it's looking okay for you guys. And then you got all worried about me jinxing the game.
Yeah.
And then right after that, Kansas City just opened it up. And I'm like, that was all me. It was karma that got that going.
You must have, because you injured more than half their team. I mean, they were pulling people out of the stands. They said, hey, does this shoulder pad fit you? Get in there.
Yeah. I feel a little bit about that. The way that the Canuck karma worked was maybe not all that great, because everyone was just like walking wounded everywhere. That was not okay, Baltimore Mike. That was not my plan when I was just kind of tuned into the game. But I don't know. You can't control it, man. That's just what happens. So
hey, when you got the voodoo fingers, man, you put them on it. So I was happy.
You just take it and you run with it.
Wow.
So so if you guys haven't listened before, we're BS, but we also do beer. We also do business. We're gonna talk about the beer we're drinking today. To do a quick thanks to our beer sponsors. Then we're going to dive into a really interesting topic. So what are you drinking today?
All right, so I got another Neighbor Pat special, except for the fact that he didn't make this one. and he's given me this one like 8 times already. So this is going to be a retread, right? It's a retread. So I think you've all seen it, but he loves this stuff. He brings it down all the time.
Oh,
The Voodoo Ranger Atomic Pumpkin. So we're going to have that today, but he just brings it down all the time. This is what he drinks. I think he carries it around in his pocket and just drops it off at people's house. So neighbor Pat's like Santa Claus, but with the Atomic Pumpkins.
Well, and the Voodoo Ranger series has such good cans. I just love the cans.
Oh, yeah.
They're just awesome. I pulled out a beer in the fridge today. I just, it was like this process, not enough progress. I'm doing the Americana there. And I grabbed this can because I just thought, I don't know, something about this seemed kind of cool. It's called Backdraft. And it's like, hey, man, if they're not making, it's all process. You got to make progress. And it's from Snake Lake Brewing, and their Snake Lake is in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, and they're I don't know, some community something or other going on with this can. There's a QR code. If you're in Sylvan Lake, grab a Backdraft and support the fire department there. Am I still too loud?
On occasion, you get a little bit that way, but hey, I would much rather support the fire department that way. I mean, we got firefighters just stand on the side of the road with a boot, and you go throw your change in it. That I would actually go buy the beer. Yeah, that's actually a better way to raise money. Way easier, way more. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have just like a beer and hot dog and be like, yeah, okay, well, I'll be there. I'll support every once a week.
Well, I always feel bad because I don't have any change or cash or anything.
Where did I see that? I saw that one time, firefighters holding out the boot and you put money in. I didn't know that. I don't think that's a thing in Canada. I think I threw some money in a boot somewhere and I didn't know that was actually a thing. I guess.
Yeah, I think they do it everywhere. Yeah, they can do it everywhere. So I think it funds their, I don't know, party or something. The firefighters ball.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. It's like, yeah, going to the cause. The drink up at the end of the year. Feeding the Dalmatians.
There you go. So, hey, all right. So we got lots of beer sponsors. I mean, Cashflow Cowboy. Hey, I got 2 books. I put them on the bookshelf already, but 2 books this week, just out of the blue from the Cashflow Cowboy, and they're really cool. It's like little quotes from the movies or inspirational, motivational quotes. And on the front cover, it says down at the bottom, here's a gift from Larry Weinstein, CPA. And it's printed on the cover. So I was like, oh, man, that was an amazing thing. So he sent me 2 little books out of the blue as just a gratitude. And he had a nice handwritten note. That's something that went away. Like writing somebody just a nice handwritten note, sending them a gift like that. You don't see it all the time, and it just impressed the snot out of me. So thank you very much, Larry. I wanted to give you that accolade because that's a touch of class, my man. That's a touch of class.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks again, Larry, for being a beer sponsor all the way through to the end of the year. Larry Weinstein, if you're in Houston, need a CPA, go check out Larry. And Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog. If you have a small business, you need to know how to use QuickBooks Online, go check out our YouTube channel at YouTube/@GentleFrog, and you will find everything you need to know to manage your business with QuickBooks Online.
Man, I'll tell you what, I've known Rachel for over 10 years now, and she is superb at what she does. She has been living QuickBooks. So if you need QuickBooks, go check out Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely. Neighbor Pat, of course. Again, got to thank Neighbor Pat because he keeps bringing you beer. I'm going to thank him for you because you usually give him shit when you thank him. I'm just going to be nice to say thank you. I appreciate it.
He actually wants you to come by the house here because he wants to make a special brew when you come. So when you come back to Arizona, take a weekend, come over, beat Pat in bags like I do. So I think everybody can do it.
So Pat, you're gonna have to watch a little Bob and Doug for some inspiration on Canadian beer. So
there you go. All right. So we also are sponsored by an Amazon bestseller, right? Her book is Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profits. And it's by Karen Harrison. She runs 3S Smart Consulting up in Michigan. So if you need cash flow help and you're looking for a cash flow consultant, go check out Karen up in Michigan at 3S Smart Consulting.
And last but not least, we have a Netflix superstar who sponsors the show, Devin, who is featured in a show on Netflix. I'm not even sure what show it was, but he's the biggest LSU fan on the planet. I'm pretty sure the show is about LSU and their football team. And so Devin, thanks again. It was just so much appreciate you supporting the show.
I forget the name of it, but it's whatever they came out with just recently about the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. So it's all the teams in the SEC, but this was episode 1, like the pilot that came out. And if you're looking for him, they're at the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium, and LSU is playing, I can't remember who they're playing, maybe USC. They're playing another team, but LSU is playing at Las Vegas Stadium for Allegiant Field, I think is what it's called. And there's a shot of a guy in a big LSU jersey right against the rail, cheering like anything. He's got a beard. He's looking good. Go check him out. And root, as soon as you see it, you'll know. As soon as I just told you, all you got to do is look for the guy that's right in the middle of the screen cheering on LSU right in the, it's almost near the top of the show, too, in the first 10, 15 minutes of the show.
Sure.
Yeah, very cool.
And right before we dive into the topic, if you want to be a beer sponsor, just go to mikeandblaine.com. You can be a sponsor. We've no inflation on the Mike and Blaine show. $5. Buy us a beer for $5. I can't even probably buy a beer for $5, but you can get a sponsorship for $5 an episode. You can buy through to the end of the year, through all next year. Buy us some beer and we will mention you on the show. And also, please like, subscribe, follow. That really helps the show. On to the program.
Hey, I like what you said there. No inflation. There's no tariffs, and you're helping create jobs. You're creating jobs. 2 jobs. You're keeping them up and running.
Yeah. Boy, if we ever got paid, we could call it a real job.
There you go. All right. Here's the thing. Over-engineering. I know you've done it. I mean, and first of all, you know when you've over-engineered something. It hit me because I've done this. I've done this most of my career where I put way too much into something. And you know that you've over-engineered something when you're the only one that understands it. Right? Right? Because you understand everything about how it works, and you don't understand why other people can't get it like you do because you've done this. I don't care if it's writing an SOP, right? Or, writing just a policy. I won't take and go, you know what? 3 or 4 sentences might work here. Everybody should get it, the rule. No, I do 5 pages of wargaming every possible scenario if you violate the rule and how you could violate the rule. I mean, I over-engineer everything. My first time. And the reason why I brought this up is that it's such a time suck. All these things that you do just suck time out, and they really come to nothing. And probably 5% of the time you actually use it, whatever it is that you've over-engineered. First time, 2012, I just met James over at Finagraph, and he goes, "Hey, I want you to put together a marketing plan." Like 2 days later, I walk in with a 36-page document, and he goes, "The hell's this?" he goes, "I got time to read that." I said, "Well, there's some shit in there we could use."
Somewhere there. Yeah, the executive summary. I don't know what's page 1.
He goes, "Hey, don't do that to me. I don't read 35-page documents." I'm like going, "Oh yeah, I got carried away." But I mean, have you ever done that? Just got carried away. We just got so ingrained with something that it just took over.
So many times. And the when I know we've done it the wrong way, because first of all, having a really good process is what makes business move forward efficiently and effectively and be transferable, trainable, all those things. So it's incredibly important. Where I run into problems, it's a bit like you're saying with the marketing plan, when you have an idea and you run out and you build this massively over-engineer something. And it's so easy to over-engineer something when you don't really understand it yet. And I always find it's better to do it after you've experienced something, which means you're going to take your lumps at first, but then you take your lumps and that 35-pager turns into a 2-pager because you go, "I get it. I tested all this stuff. This works. This doesn't work. We're doing that." So test before you build out this massive process, because it's what is the good is or perfect is the enemy of done or something like that. There's all sorts of quotes around that where that's literally where vaporware came from. It's I'm going to do this and it's going to be perfect. And you do it in a dark room in the corner and work on something for years. And then you release it into the wild thinking it's perfect. And you find out, no, you just massively over-engineered, and keep it simple.
You mentioned vaporware, right? And I think it's don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I think
That sounds
I think
like
that was
the
it's
quote.
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I remember when you said vaporware, I always think of something else, right? Because again, in 2012, got into software, and James was showing me the first version of Finograph, very first version. And I'm looking at him saying, man, that's cool. And he's clicking around the screen, and he'll click one button and the thing pop. I mean, just things were moving just so perfect. It was just an absolutely perfect product all the way through, right? I'm like going, man, this is really good. I said, hey, can I get a login for that? He goes, there's no login for it. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's a PowerPoint deck. I'm like going, what? I couldn't tell the difference on the screen. You got to realize that this guy was before starting off on his own, he was a program manager at Microsoft. This guy knew how to do this to where he could make just a slide deck look like a product and operate like a product, right? With hyperlinks or whatever it was. In 2012, that blew my mind. I'm like, what do you mean that's a deck? Because I just knew you could put text and pictures on it. I didn't know about all the other stuff. But he says, no, that's how a lot of companies will take their MVP idea out to market to show it of what the future of this product is going to look like. He goes, but that's what they call, and that's what he told me vaporware was, because there's no product there. It's like a shell of nothing, but it gives you the illusion that there's something there. But the vapor there's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you start fleecing investors thinking or fleecing somebody, that's when it gets, you get into trouble from that, because it's great. That's the difference between prototype and vaporware, in a way. But it's.
Well, that's not over-engineering anything.
That's not engineering at all. Well, it's engineering a big fabrication, I suppose. So.
No, but that was the difference between us in 2012. And then by 2017, we had built out a full prototype. I mean, in 2017, he put me and a product manager in a room, says, don't come out until you have rethought what a business dashboard should be and look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just between the two of us, we came up with the perfect thing that every business owner would love and want. And he went and built the prototype, the product manager did. And as soon, and we didn't go get focus groups or whatever. It's just what we wanted to do. And it was totally different than anything. And then we went and bought a booth at 2 different trade shows and went and showed it. And people went, probably wouldn't use it. Holy shit, we should just built a deck and ask people. You spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, just trying to get something to market like that.
Yeah,
it just falls flat.
We've all done that with products, with features. Like, how many times have we built out some ridiculously complicated feature that someone mentioned they would want, or I really need that, and then they disappear and they're not the ones buying. It's other people are buying what we already have, right? So boy, it's a real balancing act especially when you're doing innovation, because you need to build, like, you want to build something that solves a problem and it's likely in a really unique way and a different approach. But sometimes it's not a problem that people care enough about to pay for. And then other times it's like, oh, but they're paying for this over here. That didn't take us long at all. That's the most frustrating part. It's like, they're paying for this over here, but all this stuff we put all this time into, no, crickets, don't care. Right. That's really frustrating when that happens.
Yeah. Well, and that reminds me of, all right, so BC, I've divided my whole life into BC and AC, right? Which is before COVID and after COVID. So the way I keep my life straight anymore. Like, before COVID. But I was living in Seattle, and I had a friend that went and bought the Google glasses. Remember that? Okay. This is before COVID when those things came out. That was that's like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
That it came out. Well, I've never seen anybody with them since. As a matter of fact, I don't even think they sell them anymore, and I think they took them off the market within a year because they were
Yeah.
so complicated and did so many things that it was freaking people out, right? Because they had augmented reality and all kinds of just everything you can think about the power of Google in front of your eyes, like
Yeah.
24/7, right? So, and I think it just really frustrated users that there was too much to do, right? There it was
Yeah.
over. That was an example of over engineering, making it so complicated and so overwhelming that people just gave up. And they're like, "Oh, that's too much. That's way
Yeah.
too much."
Well, and I actually think what is there's also this idea that the engineers, early adopters, there's this belief that, well, everybody's going to feel the same way. And right now they're talking about, oh, the phone is going to be gone. It'll die. It'll be completely gone because everything will be in your glasses. So I know Apple's working on these glasses. Everybody's working on glasses, right? And what I don't think they understand is, yeah, there's a bunch of engineers that think it's cool. There is no way that I'm walking around and having stuff forced on me in my face while I'm doing stuff, while I'm walking, while I'm driving, while I'm reading, stuff popping up. Zero chance. I even had I had an Apple Watch I still have it. It's upstairs. I use it as an alarm clock. I shut that thing off because it just was constantly like bing, bing, bing. And it just, no.
Yeah.
I have to balance out analog with digital. And you know what? If my digital's in my pocket, it's a hell of a lot easier to ignore. And so these people that think that it's just, well, it's logical. You put in your glasses, you don't even have to reach into your pocket. I'm like, I don't mind reaching in my pocket because I can leave it in my pocket. And I don't think they've understood that yet. And I actually think a bunch of these devices are going to fail miserably because it's like, no, you're just annoying.
Yeah, it's funny. I've got an Apple Watch too, and I don't think I've wore it 20 times. And so now it just sits on the charger on my nightstand. So it's just something that I knock on the floor every once in a while.
Yeah,
that's about
it's my alarm
meaning
clock.
on accident.
Yeah.
It's not even my alarm clock because I got Alexa in the room, and I just say, "Hey, wake me up at this time."
That's probably not a bad idea, but I don't know. I literally took the bands off. It's just a little face because I kept bumping it. Yeah, when it's on that thing, it's too big and you bump it, just take the bands off. And then it's just this little itty bitty screen like this.
Oh, and I probably wouldn't knock it off.
Analog.
I probably would knock it off. Yeah. I probably wouldn't knock it off if I just took the band off.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I did. One night I just got pissed off after knocking it onto the floor and I took the bands off. Now I don't knock it off anymore. It's just my little alarm clock. But I have to balance. So I've got digital stuff everywhere. I also have a record player right here. I've got vinyl sitting right beside me. Analog watches, glasses with no shit in the screen. But then I got, then I got my earbuds, I got my phone and all that.
Well, here's the other thing about glasses, right? I have a set of glasses that, I can use to read menus and stuff like that. I mean, my problem is things that are really close to me get blurry. Far away, I'm great. Just regular walking around, I can see everything perfectly. I don't wear them. And I could, the eye doctor says you can just wear these all the time because, they're progressives, meaning only when I got to look at something that I need glasses for will it affect me. Yeah. I don't like to wear them. So they're not even talking about the whole set of people that wouldn't wear it just because they don't want something on their face.
Because they don't wear glasses. I wouldn't wear them if I didn't have to. If I could see fine, I wouldn't wear them. But to have something distracting, like they always say, distracted driving, you cannot go through life distracted. Sitting at dinner, having a conversation with someone and shit's popping onto your glasses. No, there's no way. So I think there's a lot of these things are gonna not turn out quite the way they think it's gonna turn out. Even I saw on YouTube yesterday. I didn't watch the video because even the clickbait title annoyed me. But in 24 months, there will only be 5 jobs. Get lost.
Because of AI and all that?
Because of AI. it's a PhD sitting in some room somewhere talking about what it could do. People aren't going to care. They literally aren't going to care. It'll help a little bit here, but I think they're going to find out it's not quite going to get adopted the way they think it's going to get adopted, for the exact same reason. It's like, I'm still going to do some of it. I'm going to trust people to do some of it. It'll be a nice little helper. 5 jobs? Are you serious? That's what you think is going to be in 24 months? There'll only be 5 jobs. Those guys are
you can't trust. Yeah, you can't trust AI. I mean, you just can't. It's got to be really a thin margin of what you can trust it for. I mean, McDonald's tried to do an AI drive-through, right? Take your order and all that. Oh, they were screwing things up right and left. And I'm telling you what I think people are missing with AI. And this is something I'm starting to do with my, when I build things or I ask AI or I use AI, I'm like going, is this better than a person? That's actually, I think that's the most common question you can ask, right? Is this better than a person? Like if the user gets frustrated because you say you want, a McChicken, and it says you want 5 roosters, or or something crazy. Yeah. I mean, it just comes up with something that you wouldn't expect it to do because it does that every once in a while. But here's what I'm thinking is that you first have to pass that test with AI. Is this better than the person? Mm-hmm. And things that like you do, understanding the nuances of financial statements and things like I do, giving people advice about what to do inside their own building where AI can't even see what the building looks like.
Yeah.
It's not better than a person yet. It's not in a lot of jobs.
In a lot of jobs. And it's also, I think what they're finding, like even what we're looking at is these generalized large language models is garbage in, garbage out. Half of probably, that's probably generous. Probably 3/4 of what they get off of the web is garbage, right? So where I think they're finding some success now is in very narrowly trained, carefully trained, very specifically trained bots. Really good for that. It's like a bunch of little PhDs that are just like, I am awesome at this and that's what I do. Great. Good for that. It can help. But the sort of generalized intelligence is going to rule the world. I actually think it's going to get more and more specialized because that's the stuff that works better. And the more and more specialized, it does one thing really well, and that's good enough. But you saw there's I don't want to get onto the AI stuff too much here, but there was an MIT research paper that said 95% of the implementations or installations in business have failed, which is pretty harsh. Now, there's a bunch of different reasons. It's not just that it doesn't work. There's a lot of different reasons, but I think people have to look at that and go, yeah, okay, it's not going to be as easy and as smooth. They said the same thing with the internet was going to eliminate everybody's job, and somehow it made more work for everybody. So I think it might be a very similar thing. Incredibly powerful, incredibly helpful in some areas.
Well, I'm trying to put it in, this new version of my app, right? That Clear Path to Cash app. And I find myself, when I fix one thing, it breaks something else. I'm like, going, why did you go do something else? So, we're just talking about this thing, and all of a sudden you're 3 features over breaking it. I go, what? How did that work? So you find yourself just chasing a problem all through whatever AI type of system you're trying to implement. And I think it sucks up time. I mean, Courtney's frustrated as anything right now with me because she goes, I think AI is your girlfriend. because it's sucking up a lot of my time right now. And when I think I get it this close and I show it to somebody else, it does something I didn't expect. What?
Yeah, guaranteed. Yeah. It's an amazing tool, but this is a great example of bringing that in too soon, too fast, and sort of over-engineering your process and trying to, the ultimate we can automate all of this and it'll do all this magic stuff and we will barely have to work. And then it fails miserably. But the part that fails miserably is that I think the people don't recognize, geez, if I would have just went for a 30% overall improvement and just been happy with that and kept it simple, it could be outstanding. But it is too often it's a bit of an all or none. It's the ends of the spectrum. It's either going to completely work or completely fail. No, probably not.
Well, I think you said it best before we even started the show when I was talking about that current client that I have, that whatever I do moves the needle so much in that company, because you're aware of, their situation and what's happening with their financial, statements. There is no way any AI agent could figure out a path out for them. There's just no way. I mean, it's too complex. It's too ingrained. The people have bad habits, right? I don't know how AI is ever going to train somebody not to have a bad habit.
Yeah.
So you have to have a person that just won't put up with shit, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's what it comes down to.
You're going to deal with me.
That's what business comes down to. It comes down to people. It comes down to relationships. It comes down to, like we're talking about systems and processes, but systems and processes for people. Now, what AI, like there's a certain point where if you asked AI to tell you about this business, it would come back with a bunch of stuff and you would say, yeah, I know. How do you fix that? That's the problem, is it's going to say, well, I'm going to fix it without knowing anything about the business, about the people, about their clients, about their customers, their payment cycles, about like there's 1,000 little web that all connect together to make this business go. And AI sees us one little sliver of data. So it's like, you give me some good insight on this one little sliver of data, that's fine. But what do you know about the weather and who's on strike this week and tariffs and Joe doesn't feel like working this week and Mary's off sick. Like there's so many things that make a business run. It comes down to trying to simplify all of those things. Like you said right at the start, how do you simplify these things? I think AI can give you some nice insight, but it's not running a business. I think that's laughable. That's engineers that have never run a business thinking it can run a business.
Yeah. So last year, the SBDC, Small Business Development Centers, had their national training event, and it was AI themed. And I took and handed out shirts to everybody that says AI does not equal me, right? With the not equal sign. Because I really believe that it doesn't equal me. And what I've done is I've built a system, right? And that's one of the ways that you can defend against AI is learn the fundamentals about business and how they work in real life, right? So my program, Clear Path to Cash, you see that transition? You see that segue?
That's nice.
That was pretty good.
Nice.
my program, the Clear Path to Cash, over at cashflowmike.com, teaches you 8 steps to maximizing cash in any given business situation, right? From start to finish. And we've got an app and we got group coaching. People come to me just every day during the week and just say, hey, I have this problem with my client. Can you help me? I've got this problem with my business financials. What do you see? Let's strategize about it. So when you come to my program, you're going to get not only video courses, you get live support from me in a group setting just like this, and you have software backing it up. So if you want to check it out, go check out one of my courses first, right? Go to cashflowmike.com. You get a free course called the 7-Minute Conversation right up front. You get it for free. That's 6 calculations on how to analyze your financial statements done for you. I mean, it teaches you, walks you through how to use all your financial statements, the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. And you will know more about your business in 7 minutes than you ever have probably in the whole career that you've run that business. So at Cashflow Mike, I'm going to stick to my mitten and I'm going to teach you how to manage cash flow.
Do it.
Go
check it
out. That was
guys.
good. That was good. Come on. Not only did I have a great segue, I got one of the secret words in.
Yes, you just snuck that right in. Sneaky. That's good stuff.
Yeah, right on, right on. So, it's other things that I've probably over engineered, right? I don't know. Courtney says I do this all the time, where in my mind things are just so super clear, but there is a blocker sometimes where from my brain to my mouth, there's something where it like pulls out little pieces. You know, in my mind, whatever process or whatever idea I'm trying to convey to her is A, B, C, D. But what comes out of my mouth is A, B, D. And she gets lost, like, oh, wait a second, I don't follow. There's something. How did you get to D? so, so I don't know how that works, but in my mind, I'm like, well, come on, everybody knows what C is. It just happens naturally. No, you have to tell people those things.
Well, it always helps.
I don't know what it is, but that might be just me. And that's been a problem I've had my entire life, is that there's like a piece that I understand because I built the thing that I fail to communicate to others, and it causes confusion and it prolongs their understanding of the process.
Yeah.
I mean, that piece is so critical. And man, I'll tell you what, I stumble on it sometimes.
Well, like communication is so hard because how do you, it's the balancing act of how do you keep it simple? How do you have a really simple, clear message, but you're leaving a lot of stuff out because you can't do a ton of detail, right? So it's nature of the beast, just what it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, the other thing is that I never asked myself, and I'm terrible at this, would I use this? And I'm not just talking about software. I'm just talking about anything we do. I mean, you know, if I build this, you know, because somebody gives me an idea and I'll write up a little training thing or whatever. Like that happened to me a couple of weeks ago where I was talking about small changes can have big impact. And really, I mean, the simplicity of it is, hey, sometimes a 1% price increase changes your life.
Yes. Yeah.
Customers don't feel it. It might be 14 cents to them, but on your P&L, it's $200,000 based on the value of transactions.
Yeah.
And I put together this 30-minute training program on just different scenarios like that. And about halfway through, there was a typo on the on the screen that I got flustered because of the typo and I couldn't move past it, you know, and it wasn't even necessary. That whole line that I typed wasn't even necessary. It didn't add value. It just confused everybody. And then there was a typo on it, which caused more chaos. like, damn, if I'd have just not did that, you know, trying to be more clear, and I actually caused confusion with clarity.
You know, well, like I have a bit of although I'll argue that sometimes it's necessary, but my wife always says that I engineer the fun out of things. Oh no, research the fun out of things. That's what she says. So if we go to buy something or whatever, I gotta run the numbers on every, like I just do, right? Our cell phone plan was up. And they said, well, you got to, you know, you return the phones or you buy out the remainder of the phones and you do all this and stuff. I have a spreadsheet. I literally made a spreadsheet of here's if I buy out the phones, here's if I don't, here's with 4 of the competitors, here's the plans they have. Now you can say I over-engineered it, basically to find out, no, I might as well just stay with the guys I'm with. But then I knew, right? So there's the other side of it is like, if I didn't do that, I'm not sure what I would have picked, but I went, nah, I've run the numbers. I know that is exactly what we're doing. I have full confidence in it because I did that. Probably looks a little bit like I over-engineered it because I literally have a spreadsheet on cell phone plans.
Dude, I do that all the time. I overthink and overanalyze and justify, and I'll even ask, "Hey, what do you think they're going to say?" You know, I mean, like, other people, like, if something's happening in our world, Courtney goes, "Dude, why do you just ask me all those questions? I don't know. You're always asking me what if type questions." I said, "Because that's how you minimize risk. That's how you get understanding. If I ask you this and I get a response I didn't expect, it makes me rethink something.
Yeah,
Makes me really
exactly.
rethink of what's happening. So I'm like, oh, I didn't think somebody would do that. That'd be weird. I didn't think about that.
Okay, so here's the question then. And this is the trickiest question. Is over-engineering only visible when you look back?
Man, that's a good one, right? Is it only engineering when you look back? Huh. Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe.
Because it almost seems like when something fails and you can look at it and say, yeah, over-engineered that. But then there could be 10 things that were successful that you put a lot of time into, you maybe took a risk, you did all of this, and it's oh, we're so smart. That worked. We engineered it. So I'm just curious
Well,
if it's hindsight is the only way you actually can see that.
no, I think I think you know it while it's happening. And there's a point, and this is what I mean. There's a point when you like get stuck or you're still thinking about it and you decide, oh, I probably shouldn't do this. I should probably go a different route. But then you think back at the investment. Damn, but I already put 20 hours into this, or I already put 10 hours into this. And most of us don't want to give up on the investment.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
And I'm
that's true.
getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. I'm like going, instead of just pushing through and try to make it work, I'm getting better at like just saying, that sucked. And I'm pitching more things today. 10 years ago, I didn't pitch anything. But now I can do
Yeah.
things faster. You can just do things faster. You know, I've made mistakes, so I take shortcuts. I mean, I use AI for, different things.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm willing to give up on things faster. But I think that's what's happened to me in the past is that I saw the issue. I saw that I was over engineering it. I saw that I was investing way too much time and I refused to give up on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair because I think the way I operate now, and I think even the way our team operates now is very, very different from, let's say, 5 years ago. We like to test things first. We like to get customer feedback. We like to do minimum viable everythings all the time. We like to do test runs, and it used to be we could talk the talk, but we wouldn't walk the walk. Now we just do it because we've learned where and I'm sure we still will get some of it, but I think it'll be if we look at something now and say we over-engineered it and it didn't work or it was a failure, is probably 10% of what it would have been 5 years ago because it's like we vet it first and we'll cut it off at the knees way quicker. Nope, done, out, go on to something else, right?
Well, one of the reasons why this 7-minute conversation has lived as long as it has, right? I've been delivering that almost same seminar or pitch. I won't call it a pitch. It's a presentation for about a decade
Mhm.
because it's just been refined and I changed it and tweaked it. That's not over engineering it. That's real life feedback and real life interactions that makes it better. Well, I've tried that same process now on a new one for the client conversation coach, which is how to have that better conversation for my last book. And I started with a product in January, February, and I've presented it enough now that it keeps getting refined.
Yeah.
But what I didn't do was just over engineer it up front. I just said, here's the basics. And I keep adding where people get caught or where they get stuck or where I get stuck because I can't get out of it. Somebody asked me a question, I can't answer it. Right.
Yeah.
So an evolution, I think, is fine. So I think I'm finding myself now going MVP, minimum viable, throwing it out there and adjusting from there rather than what we did with, I'll call it flight. I won't call it flight.
Yeah.
We called it flight that never took flight.
Yeah.
Because,
Go. No, very much on the same page as we've done, all the way through even our sales process now and our demos and just all the steps that we go through. Instead of trying to engineer them at the start, we just kind of said, yeah, there's going to be some casualties, and we're gonna take our lumps, and you just know it. But you take a lump, and you're like, oh, I just moved us forward a month. Like you learn from it, and then it's like that little MVP, and you test it, we have things even today. I'm like, no, I know they're not perfect, but I'm not touching it until I run through several more people, and you get a little bit more data out of it, and understand, because otherwise you think you're perfecting something. You might be actually making something worse. You just don't know
Yeah.
until you've got that data into
Yeah.
evaluate.
And see, I worked with a guy, right before I started Cash Flow Mike. He refused to do that. Right. He was my business partner, refused to do that because he was afraid that when people saw mistakes or errors or bugs or whatever, that he would be judged. And I'm just the opposite. I'm like, hey, I tell people up front, this thing ain't ready, but I need your help, because I'm one guy and I'm looking at the same thing all the time, using the same type of data. I'm probably missing 1,000 things, and I need you to break it. That's what
Yeah.
this is for. I want you to break it, and that way I can either give up on it or I can improve it. But I want you to
I
break it.
just every time I think if we're going to try and push to perfect, and I just think Apple doesn't, Microsoft doesn't,
Mhm.
Nvidia doesn't, Amazon doesn't. We don't need to be held to a different standard than the
Mhm.
biggest companies in the world, because they're learning. Perfect is never going to happen.
Yep.
Just get it good.
Yeah. Well, but we all fall into the thing we think that a more process, more work, more effort turns into more growth. And that it could be just the opposite.
Could be completely the opposite. You and I have both done, we've talked about this on the shows before. You and I have both done this. You've spent money and thinking that you can just spend money and it'll work, and watched like just tens of thousands of dollars in crickets. That didn't work. And then something that's completely free and it works. They're not related. And usually the things that work are a bit of a surprise. And then you want to double down on it. That's what you want to be able to do, is identify it and double down on it. It doesn't matter how much time and thought and effort and money you put into something. If it's not the right fit, it's not effective. It's not going to work. You can't buy your way out of it.
This reminds me of one of our other episodes. So if you think this is interesting, this topic, Blaine and I did an episode, I'm going to say a few months back. I don't know if it's 2 months, 4 months, but we talked about the death of the business plan. You remember that, where we said, hey, the
Yeah.
70-page business plan was dead? Because to me, that's over engineering, for most businesses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. And we went to the lean
Totally.
business model canvas. We talked about the one pager, the business plan, just, hey, get the basics. We talked about just what do I need to make this a business? And
Yeah.
that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh man, I think there's more places in my life I've simplified to avoid that, because I've written
Yeah.
business plan in the past. And, I know people that make the business plan software, and I've used it. I don't use it as much now as I did back when I was building a lot of companies, but I spent hours doing this stuff,
Mhm.
got it, maybe give it to a couple of people, shelved it, never looked at it again.
No, it doesn't. It's a complete, I think it's in a lot of ways a complete waste of time. You need all the information, but it doesn't need to be in one giant book that sits on a shelf and no one ever touches. In fact, even the lean business model, it's like talking with your colleague how many years ago, with a 35-page plan.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it is about simplifying this to something that you can communicate and you can talk about and you can build on. And then all of these different systems and processes feed out of there, but they're not pulled back and documented in some giant book that no one looks at.
Well, and I look back at the education system now. I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I make a 35-page document? Why did I build a 70-page business plan a couple of different times? And I go, oh, school. Like, it was school. It was, I had an MBA before they were really the cool kids popular thing to do, where now everybody in the world has an MBA. You can't be in business without one. But back then, that was the process. And I'm talking about, 25, 30 years ago, that was the process that you had to do that to be successful in business. The thought process, not the application. The thought was. So that's where I think I got into that habit. And now 30 years later, I'm like, oh, man, all the hours I sat in front of a computer trying to make numbers right that were never right.
Yeah.
They were never right.
Well, how much of it was the quantity over quality? Like, how many essays did I write in university based on a number of words? It had nothing to do with communicating, answering the question efficiently. It was write 10,000 words of crap on something. You look at that now and you go, well, that's ludicrous. How do you just throw an arbitrary number of words? That's the value.
Yeah.
It's like 10 cents a word.
I mean, I was just part of a faculty meeting, at University of Colorado at Graduate School of Banking. A lot of the faculty members there are like older bankers, right? They maybe even retired bankers, and that's been what it is. They said, we don't know how we're going to keep people from using AI. I'm like going, you're not going to keep people from using AI. You're going to change the assignment. You're going to say, hey, listen, you're going to turn this in, and then you're going to do an oral presentation on something I asked you from it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you change it. You just say, hey, you're going to do 4 minutes or 5 minutes on whatever question I asked you from that 75-page document you just turned in.
Yeah. It's that AI wrote.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you make them learn somehow, but you make them learn like going, hey, okay, well, if somebody else wrote it and that's what you say is your work, then you should know it.
Yeah. Because I've talked with an instructor not too long ago, and I asked them, like, how are you guys adapting to AI? So, we have tools that analyzes it and tells us if it was AI written. Like, well, who cares? Like,
yeah.
And also,
you're sending dumbasses out into the world.
And how do you stay ahead of AI? That, it arguably today, if I asked and said, okay, write me a 10,000 word essay. Okay, now rewrite it so that it doesn't sound like AI. Could it do that? Like, could you get through an anti-AI? Like, it's so counterintuitive. It's the wrong way. Now, the whole structure has to be rethought. And that's what I was sort of curious about. How are they going to rethink it so that people learn and understand and can prove that they've learned and understand something?
I just solved the problem. Tell me what you know. And I got your answer right in front of me.
It has to be in person, not like Zoom, just like Max Headroom. It's like, no, I'm telling you, they're telling you. Wait a minute, is that a real person? There'll be someday I'll have to understand, figure out if it's an Android you're talking to or not. But
but even if it was Zoom and you had a 10-page paper, you would have to find the exact question I asked you out of 10 pages. And I'm not going to see you looking down at the keyboard or looking over here at this. Like, as soon as you break contact here, I'm going to know. You're either going to know it or not. And if you know it, that's the whole exercise. I don't care if you just read it, if you know it and you can talk about it, and then I'll ask you something that's not on your paper as a follow-up question. Mm-hmm. Well, what about this? If you don't know whatever it is we just asked or talked about, you can't answer the follow-up question. 2 questions, 5 minutes, you'll know.
And you know what? Even for the teachers and the instructors, that's probably a nicer way to do it, because nobody wants to read my 10,000 word pile of crap essay. Like, that's awful. I don't even think people read it. I think a lot of times I shouldn't, I'm not accusing, but how many instructors maybe read the first one, and then the grades for the rest of the year were kind of based on that first one. And it's like, did they really read every one of the 10,000 word essays critically? I have trouble believing that. I don't think I could. That would make my brain melt.
I think I had some professors do that because it would be like a month and a half before they came back with a grade on the big assignments. So maybe, you know.
It's easy. They've been around long enough to know, well, I can't give them a grade tomorrow. If I wait a month and a half, they'll think I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think now if I was back in college, I would sneak Fiddlehopper into every one of the, every other essay that I went through. I just sneak the word in there and see if they caught it.
That was pushed a little bit, but I'll
that was not pushed. That was exactly what you were talking about. You're like, I wonder if they read it. I'm like, I'll sneak a word in and see if they read it.
C- on that one.
You know what's funny is that for several episodes, I don't think we did any. There was like several in a row that we didn't get any in.
Yeah, we're ill prepared for our episodes.
So if you stayed awake all the way till 56 minutes in, and you're like, now what the hell happened? Those of you that have heard us before, we always try to sneak in two things into every single episode. One is sticking to your knitting. So that's one of the secret words. It's like a game that Blaine and I play with each other, right? It's
very
kind
poorly,
of a fun
but
thing.
We do play.
Very poorly, yeah. The other one is Fiddlehopper, right? These are two things that we don't normally say in any, given day, but they're fun to say, and it's fun to try to sneak them in. So I knew we were getting to the end. Nobody had said that one. I snuck it in there.
Snuck. I don't know.
Hey,
that's all right.
I thought it was good.
You did get it. You did get it in. I would argue that it was one of our better ones. We did have a really good segue into your promo today, so that was really good. But if you guys are still listening, please like, subscribe, follow, and go to mikeandblaine.com, buy us a beer, $5 for an episode, and we will mention you. And most of our sponsors are all the way through the end of the year. So make sure you go to mikeandblaine.com and comment, like, subscribe, follow. We really appreciate the support.
Even at mikeandblaine.com, we still got merch. You can get our shirts. You can get the shirts with our face on them. Well, it's not our face. It's our characters, right? It's our character face. So, but really appreciate you. Another one in the books, 210 next week.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.